Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Acoustic Cinema here on Loudstone TV. As always, I am your host, Andrew, and I am joined by my co-host.
Hello, it is I, the co-host, Haley, and we also have a very special guest joining us today. This is my very good friend, JEK, who is the lead singer of a band called BowTie Fridays, which has a music video on the Loudstone TV 24/7 stream. So that's pretty cool.
Welcome to the show, JEK.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Thankful to be here.
We're thankful to have you. This is going to be really, really fun. So today, we are talking about a movie that I've been wanting to talk about because I love this film with all of my heart. It is called Sing Street. So I will go ahead and tell you guys a little more about Sing Street.
Yes, please do.
So Sing Street is about it's a coming of age story wherein a boy that's growing up in Dublin during the 1980s escapes his strained family life by starting a band to impress a girl he likes, a girl who happens to be a model. So it's a very charming coming of age story. It is directed by John Carney and it stars Ferdia Walsh-Pilo, Aidan Gillen, and Maria Doyle Kennedy, amongst other people. So I really like this movie. I think it's a really lovely coming of age story. I think I love the 1980s aesthetic. I love that it takes place in Dublin. I think all the characters are all very charming in their own ways. And I think the music in it is far and beyond the best part. So I wanted to, we'll start this off. I'll talk to JEK and I'm going to ask him. So tell me a little about how you felt watching this for the first time and how you think, or do you think that your journey as a musician connects to the main characters?
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned the movie to me first time, I honestly had never heard of it, but you had told me that it reminded you of BowTie Fridays and a little bit of our journey, which right when I watched it, I totally saw where that was coming from. I mean, the music alone, that 80s vibe, that upbeat dance beat that they always have going, definitely felt very similar to a lot of the music we play. And just watching Connor, the main character, come such a long way from being such a shy, introverted boy and just getting out there, gaining that confidence and just figuring himself out along the way. And it's definitely something that I related to.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear it, yeah.
How so? Can you tell us a little bit about how BowTie Fridays got started?
Yeah, so we started officially back in 2016, although it dates a little further back to when we were trying to start. My freshman year of college, so 2014, I moved in with a random roommate at Hofstra, Joe, who is our bass player, and we both, had an interest in music. I had just gotten started with learning piano, starting to dabble with some singing, and he played bass, so we started to just mess around and see if we could just cover some songs together, and then somehow along the way decided to write our own music. Next thing you know, the next year we have a drummer who wants to play with us, we have a guitarist, and we have a whole lineup, and we're like, all right, let's see what we can do with this. And so we started to take some shows at the university, started doing some nearby shows Long Island, expanded our way into Manhattan and everything, and next thing you know, we're a fully operational band, and it just kind of happened out of nowhere.
That's awesome. And what would you kind of say is like your songwriting process? Because one of my favorite parts of this film was watching them sort of create and construct the songs. We have Connor, who's the frontman / singer, and oddly enough, like at the beginning of the movie, I thought it was very weird that he couldn't really sing or seemed like he couldn't really sing. And then by the end, he's like this confident, strutting along front man. So I thought that was a funny sort of arc for him. but I liked the moments, especially between him and Eamon, where you see them sort of building songs together in Eamon's room, in the park, in all these different locations, and just especially the one song Up, where they just sort of
love that song.
construct it, and you just, the cinematography in that scene alone,
it's fantastic.
I love it. It's beautiful.
So seamless, like the way it shifts.
Yeah, it's just like this nice little circular arc around the room. It's great. So what's your songwriting process? Is it just you that's writing the words and the music, or is it the whole band that sort of has the shell of the song and then you put lyrics on top?
Yeah, so the songwriting process, I will say, is constantly evolving. There's never been one formula for us. Overall, I'm the core songwriter, so I'm usually sitting down with my piano, just messing around with some chord progressions until I kind of have something that catches my ear, and I'm like, ooh, this could be cool, and let it evolve from there, throw some melodies on top, start to write lyrics. But I've also had my fair share of collaborations with our guitarist, who's also one of our songwriters. So kind of like that scene when they were putting the song Up together, where one of us will be playing something, and the way Eamon just kind of leaned in on the piano and was like, okay, I can add on to this. It's kind of what we do sometimes too, where we just build off of each other. And it's cool when we can collaborate like that. But for the most part, yeah, I just sit down at the piano or with my digital workstation on Logic and start to pluck out some chords and just kind of go from there. What melodies and lyrics come out of it, we'll see.
Nice. And are you driven by sort of any like particular things or thoughts, or how Connor really focuses in on this girl with the eyes that for a couple of different songs, and obviously he's talking about why am I blanking on her name? Help me out here.
Oh gosh, what is her name? Yes, Rafina. Very
Rafina,
good.
yes, thank you.
I did my research.
I knew it was an R name. I literally was watching clips of the movie before we started. So obviously it's very like Rafina centric, his songwriting, but is that the same case for you? Do you write about girl troubles or family troubles or friend troubles?
I've had my fair share of girl troubles for sure. I think, anytime there's a major breakup, a lot of songs come out of that. That is fuel for creativity and the emotion.
Call you Taylor Swift then.
I try not to do it all the time. I would say really the overlapping theme throughout most of my music is a self-discovery journey. And my perceptions of what events have occurred in my life, whether that's personally or in the world in general, and just how I'm taking that in and evolving with it. So it's really serving a purpose for myself, trying to understand, who I am, why I'm here, what I'm doing.
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. That's cool.
That's really important. Yeah, I find that as an artist, so much. I'm trying to think of a good way to phrase this, but as artists, I find, in a way, trauma and things that we want to work towards, that is what sort of fuels art. And we actually talked about that in the last episode where we talked about Whiplash, about like the starving artist, the struggling artist. So I just think that is an interesting point. Like art comes from very intense emotions. Yeah,
and one of the overlying themes of Sing Street was the happy sad thing.
Yes.
I definitely relate to, just taking those sad emotions and building happy music out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely something I relate to.
Something that you can like dance to, even if the lyrics are a little, less than happy.
Yeah, because I don't know, at the end of the day, you still want the music to move you, and a little upbeat sounds helps with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and there's a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of prominent bands from that era that are featured throughout the film, and you can definitely tell that that's where Connor draws his inspiration from. I mean, one of the first bands features is Duran Duran. You got Aha, The Cure, The Clash, Hall & Oates, like all the bands from that era, sort of, you hear them in the Sing Street band. which is named after their school, Sing Street in Dublin, which is a real place that John Carney attended. So I thought that was pretty neat. It sort of blended art and life, which was
Actually,
sort of
I know that. How cool.
Yeah, it's sort of an overlying theme of that whole movie is blending, art with your life, drawing art from, inspirations, trying to find your voice through your inspirations and all of that. And that leads to one of my next questions for Jake, actually. So obviously as Connor's first building his band, he attempts a very poor cover of Duran Duran, and his brother Brendan just sort of shits on it all over. He's just like, this is terrible. You need to find your own voice and focus on you. And I want to get your thoughts on covers and cover bands. Is playing covers something that BowTie Fridays does, or you personally? Is that sort of a rite of passage of like original artists and trying to find your voice?
Yeah, we do play covers in BowTie Fridays. And I mean, personally, I actually disagreed with what they said in the movie. I kind of think covers are a necessity for any band that's starting out, just because that's how you get your groove together. It's hard to write songs and create new things together when you guys haven't even found your, interconnectivity and vibed with each other at all yet. So I really feel like, what helped us get to that point was learning these songs together, because we already know what they're supposed to sound like. So we're trying to find that vibe while, not trying too hard to come up with our own stuff at the same time. And then once we got more comfortable with each other and with a stage presence and just playing in front of people in general, that's when the original songs started taking off more. And yeah, I disagreed with the movie a little on that one. But
Now, do you put a little BowTie Fridays flair on the covers? Like, do you rearrange them, or do you try to keep it pretty recognizable?
We've been trying to. At first, without any experience with original music, really, we just kind of replicated exactly what the songs were.
Yeah.
But we've learned, definitely more exciting to add a little original twist to it. And people like to hear something new, even when they recognize the song.
I like that. I agree with that.
Is there a group that inspires you and the type of music that you guys make?
I mean, it's been hard to pin it down exactly, but the overall trend I've noticed in my songwriting, everyone always says that they think that I got all my influence from the 80s, which is funny because I don't actually listen to the 80s all that much. I think where it's coming from is I listen to a lot of modern bands who listens to the 80s. So bands like Churches, The Naked and Famous, the 1975, to rattle off a few, they all replicate a lot of the sounds from the 80s and have that upbeat vibe and all that synth pop. And so I kind of get the 80s vibe from them, I guess.
Word. That's interesting. Yeah. It's like your band and the way that you guys sound, it's very synthy, and I've always really liked that. That's why, in a lot of ways, I thought of BowTie Fridays when I watched Sing Street for the first time. I was like, they need to do covers of these songs. Like, this has to be a thing. So with that said, I kind of want to move into talking about the songs.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll ask both of you, was there a song or several songs that resonated the most with you?
Well, I can go first, if that's okay, Jake.
Yeah.
As I said before, I think the song Up for me was one of my favorites off of the album, just because, again, the scene around it. I've been getting a lot more into videography and how things are filmed. So just the construction of that scene on camera was beautiful. We start off in Eamon's living room with him and Connor, and then as Eamon goes over to the piano, he starts building in that like slightly out of tune piano part, and then it comes in with the electric guitar and the synth, and then the bass and the drums come in on the second verse, and then you get this like groove going, and it was just like a fun song. I felt like Eamon's mom like dancing around like as the song was on. Like that was me. But but just before this as well, I was jamming out to Drive It Like You Stole It, because that is a fantastic scene as well. Very Back to the Future. And I gotta say, the character Brendan, Connor's brother, who's played by Jack Rayner, who actually won a couple of awards for supporting actor for this film, was giving off very Chris Pratt vibes in that scene. He looked almost exactly like Chris Pratt.
He did.
It was trippy.
Whoa. He did.
It was bizarre. But anyway, I digress. That song is a very just like sort of, I think that's the overall message of the movie in that, or one of the overall messages of the movie in that song. You know, this is your life. You control it. So take the wheel and drive it like you stole it. You know, just have fun, live a little. So I really liked the lyric building there. But what about you, Jake?
Well, you stole what my 2 picks would have been, honestly. But another song that I was tossing around is one of my favorites from that was Girls, I think it was called. It definitely was a little cheesy with this, little falsetto at the girls, girls, girls. But overall, I just thought it was a very catchy and fun song. And I think that was their opening song for the prom night scene. Was that when they played that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fun, upbeat song and very catchy.
Yeah.
That is very catchy. And what's funny is did you know that there's actually a Broadway musical that was in production before COVID, and then they were like in previews and they had to stop. But I'm pretty sure it's coming back, at least on the West End, and then hopefully it'll make its way over here. But yeah. Girls is on that soundtrack, and I think it sounds a lot better with the Broadway cast recording. In my humble opinion, with actual singers. Not that this kid can't sing. I think he's
yeah, it's so bizarre too, because like again, I found performance videos, I guess when they were marketing the film, of Eamon and Connor's actors performing and playing these songs acoustically. And I don't know like what's Connor's character's name or actor's name?
Ferdia Walsh Pilo.
Ferdia Walsh, yeah. So he actually had like shoulder length, like long hair, and it was like sexy looking. And I was like, he was exuding confidence, and I'm like, damn, like it kind of gave me another layer of respect for the kid, because I'm like, all right, so he can actually act, because I thought he was awkward AF. Like
he played the part of an awkward kid trying to impress a girl very well. I think the character was very, very charming. He's very likable.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. And just another note on the music. Most of it was written by Gary Clark, not Gary Clark Jr., who I originally thought it was, who's another amazing artist. But Gary Clark was the frontman of a Scottish pop group in the 80s called Danny Wilson. And he was in a couple other like rock and alt bands in the 90s that actually got their music featured in some other films that I'm now blanking on, but I think like Charlie's Angels might have been one of them, or like Legally Blonde or something. I don't know. But this guy's worked with artists like Demi Lovato, Nick Carter, Ashley Parker Angel, for all you O-Town fans listening, the Veronicas.
Cool.
Yeah, he's worked on an Amazon series with John Carney called Modern Love. I think it came out.
He did
like
Modern
2 years
Love?
ago. Yeah.
Like the podcast and the Times article, Modern Love. Like, it's a series based on that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
How cool! Yep, this guy.
Yep.
That's
and
awesome.
He's also working on a Nanny McPhee stage musical.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, so the dude has a lot of writing credits, and like I was blown away by the music in this movie. I think it's also worth noting that Carney is also responsible for the films Once and Begin Again, which also have a lot of overlapping themes with this film, Sing Street. They're a little bit more adult because they focus on actual adults rather than teenagers. But and one of the songs in this film too, Adam Levine co-wrote. And
which one?
I want to say, was it Get Up? Go Now. Go Now.
Okay.
And Adam Levine played one of the main, or I should say supporting characters in the movie Begin Again. So lots of interconnectivity going on.
Cool.
How fun. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Just looking through my notes here.
Yeah, the music in this film, it's so catchy. I find so many of the songs like just so good and so different. Like you already mentioned my absolute favorite, which is Drive It Like You Stole It. And yes, like it is, I actually love listening to it when I'm driving. It's such a great driving song. It has a very nice like upbeat tempo. It's the kind of song you just like bop to, like you can go anywhere, you know, like it's just, you guys should listen to the song if you haven't. But it's,
maybe AJ will put a clip in right here.
Hey, yeah, that'd be perfect. Thanks, AJ. But I love the lyrics. I love it's just such a like upbeat, positive, motivational song. Like it makes me feel like, it's one of those songs, it gives me like Don't Stop Me Now by Queen vibes almost, just because it gets you pumped up. Like I've listened to it before, like job interviews or like a date or something. I've just because it kind of gets me in the mood, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I can go anywhere. I just gotta drive it like I stole it. Yeah.
So would you put it on a workout playlist?
I absolutely would put on a workout playlist, and I have. I'm like, I'm at like Blink Fitness on the elliptical, just like you can go, like just
I'm picturing probably 80s workout video with that.
Right.
I actually
like Olivia Newton-John physical vibes, like
like sweatband and like whole body suit with a belt, and it's always like bright blue, bright pink, very bright 80s colors.
There you go. I feel like Haley's workout playlist is like very like musical, Glee, like anything like that. That's like musical theater vibes.
Okay, but like I don't, it's got to be like upbeat musical theater,
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not gonna like.
Hamilton.
There may or may not be some Hamiltons.
Like, 10 Dual Commandments is great when you're trying to like get a workout going.
That is true, because you can actually count down while you're like lifting or like doing your reps or something.
Perfect.
Oh man. Well, speaking of driving songs, we're gonna backpedal a little bit. I'm gonna ask Jake a random question here. What's one of your go-to driving songs?
Go-to driving songs. Interesting. I feel like I'm always rotating different ones, but I don't know if you guys know the band Nothing But Thieves.
I've heard of them. I don't listen to them.
They're starting to break out into a pretty big level right now. I think they're based in England, I want to say.
Okay.
They have the song called Before You Drift Away, which just a very like, slowly building up, kind of like the song Up from this movie, from Sing Street. It has that vibe of like, soft little beginning and then just builds up. And that's been my go-to drive song lately.
Nice. What about you, Haley? Outside of Drive It Like
You Stole It. I have a whole playlist of songs to drive to. I think I really like driving, especially when there's music to drive to. Like, I actually watched this video essay about Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo, which is a very famous song, and it totally blew up when it came out. But
Never heard of it.
Oh, well, I mean, it's okay. It's like super indie, like, it's very underground. But
Gotcha.
She is a very talented songwriter, I think. And I love that it actually features sounds that a car would make as part of the music. Like it starts with like, opening a car door, like you hear that, and then it becomes like her banging on the keys. So it's just very seamless how it transitions well. And so this video was kind of breaking down Driver's License and why that song in particular is actually a very good driving song. I think it has a lot of like ethereal emotions to it. What else is a good driving song? I could like look at my playlist of songs to drive to, because I actually have a playlist on my phone called Songs to Drive in the Car. Like,
nice.
But I love that one. Oh, you know what else is really good? there's this song. I'll back up. There's a movie that came out around April. No, after April, relatively recently. But there was a film that came out, an animated movie called The Mitchells versus the Machines on Netflix. It's a great movie. You guys should totally watch it. So funny. And there's this incredible song that plays at the end of the movie. And it's a movie that's about a road trip. So it has road trip vibes the entire film. And then the end of the movie is this song called On My Way by an artist named Alex Leahy. And it's upbeat and it's motivational. A lot of in the same way that Drive Me Like You Stole It is motivational and kind of a pump up song. And this song called On My Way, it's just like, it just makes you feel good. Like I can't listen to it and not smile. It's one of those songs that just like, it hits you in the feels because of the way that it builds. The lyrics are about like, you know, we're on our way to somewhere. It's about like trying to escape like a small town life and just like, you know, go towards a bigger future and like go to the big city. And it's a very like youth driven song, I think. So that's another one that I really like listening to in the car and just like in general.
Nice.
Cool.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, you didn't ask me, but I.
Oh no, I'm sorry. What
No,
do you like
to
listen to in the car?
It's all good. Really,
I figured you were just gonna tell me anyway. So.
I was. It was okay. There's a couple of like one-off songs that I usually share for specifics. So, at the risk of sounding very stereotypical here, "Pour Some Sugar on Me" by Def Leppard is a great pre-gym pump up song for me. Love it. Lately I've been listening to and by lately I mean like over the course of the past 2 days because I just realized it existed, was the remix of Peaches by Justin Bieber with Ludacris, Usher, and Snoop Dogg.
Oh wow.
It's a stacked remix. But it's not like one of those like dance party remixes that completely changes the beat and makes it crazy. Like it's the same like mellow beat. And I think it capitalizes on each of the rappers' sort of area that they usually rap about. You know, like Luda's was very, you know, sexual. You had Usher's that was very like R&B. He had some killer harmonies.
Oh, wow.
Which was great because, you know, obviously he helped launch Bieber's career. So that was kind of cool to hear them on a track together. And then, you know, Snoop's verses were all about weed.
Oh, I mean, you know, what else is new? It's
Wait, what?
Right. Go figure. So that randomly got me thinking too about, do you guys remember when Snoop Dogg was Snoop Lion for a little bit? Like he brought the Rastafarian experience. He changed his name.
I think he came to our university. Jake and I went to the same undergrad, and he came to our college one year. I think it was before either of us got there, but everyone was saying that during our like fall festival, he was like the craziest act. He was just so much fun. And I totally believe it. Like I feel like Snoop is just such a chill, wacky dude in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I missed the opportunity to see Ludacris at my undergrad's spring concert.
Luda also went to our university.
Yeah, he came to ours. I was there for that one.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I missed that opportunity, but that's okay. I was very like picky in my music back then. So I was like, you know, singer, songwriter, indie, alt rock, and I don't want to listen to anything else. Leave me alone. Like everything else is trash. Now I have a little bit more of a greater appreciation for that stuff. But I also just discovered this artist. His name's Luya, I think, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
I think he blew up on social media, and he has a song called "I Used to Care" that apparently went viral, and he's got very Post Malone vibes. So if you guys are into Post Malone, check that out. And I also have been driving around to John Mayer's latest album, Sob Rock, which I didn't think I was gonna like it because I'm a very like back and forth on John Mayer. But it's a great, like, talk about 80s inspired. Like, he's got one of the studio musicians who played with Toto on synth and on keys.
Oh, how fun. That's awesome.
Album. So there's a lot of like 80s stuff going on. His guitar tone is very reminiscent of Dire Straits. In a couple of different songs, he almost emulates Phil Collins a couple of times. Dare I say it? But so yeah, that's my driving stuff.
I mean, I love Tarzan. Like,
who doesn't? I just watched an acapella medley. I watched an acapella medley of Tarzan songs, which was pretty fun. Was it
BYU Vocal Point?
It was in the museum.
I love them. I love them very much. They are a bunch of very talented Mormon boys.
I think that's funny too, because Jake was saying before we started recording that you guys were in the same a cappella group.
Yes.
And that puts us all in the same sort of basket, because I founded my college's a cappella group.
Did you?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah, they contacted me for like their 10th year anniversary because they wanted to like ask me how they got started and all this other stuff. And we were just like, we couldn't get any funding from student government. So we wound up just like performing at random shows. At our theater, there was the a cappella night that came every year, and we were the opening act for it. And now they do like competitions, and they host competitions that go to different schools and things like that.
That's amazing.
Like good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have a punny name?
No, it was, I went to Merrimack College, so it was just Macapella.
Okay, that's kind of.
I guess it's kind of yeah.
Did you really actually do a cappella?
Wait, yeah, right.
You know what's so funny? True. So people think Pitch Perfect is just a movie, but like no, like there is some truth to college a cappella. Like it really is that cheesy. We really do be breaking out. Like at our college, there were 5 a cappella groups. And, they were all like different, but we would collaborate a lot of times, and we would do like just different, shows together. We would we open for each other for a lot of different events. But ours was interesting because we were the only, we were like specifically community service driven an a cappella group.
Okay.
And also we were a Jewish a cappella group, which is funny because a good half our members weren't Jewish.
Including myself.
Including Jake.
And I ended up being the music director, so that was interesting.
That is pretty funny.
But it was it was such a great part of college. Like I think so fondly back in our days singing a cappella. Our group was called the High Notes. It's very important.
The phlegm in the back of the throat there.
People would read it and they'd be like, chai notes, and it's like, no, we're not here to make tea. Like,
wow, that's funny. So Sing Street.
The thing we're supposed to be talking about. So I want to talk a little about some of the themes and the characters, because I think while music is such a huge part of it, the music wouldn't be as impactful if the characters weren't so charming and endearing and lovable in so many different ways. Like Connor, I think, is such, he's a really good protagonist because you really do see his development. You see him, gain this confidence throughout the movie. And Rufina is also such an interesting love interest character because she almost goes through the opposite. It's like he grows in confidence, and then you see she starts out very confident, very sure of herself, and then you start to see, he breaks down her layers, and we start to see like more of who she is on the inside, and that she's actually insecure, and she just like wants to be a model, and she has this boyfriend. And so it's just a very interesting dichotomy,
Yeah, which I think is part of the reason why I like the cinematography during Up, because that's where we start to see her layers sort of break down. As Connor's singing, like she's building me up and I'm going up because of her. She's like taking off her makeup, which is all caked on in layers, and that sort of symbolizes her breaking down. And she's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. you know.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, and I think that's so funny when you look at the song, the Sea song. What is that? I forget what it's called.
It's Not Beyond the Sea. Beautiful Sea.
Beautiful Sea. That's it. I couldn't remember the adjective. But yeah, like she, you know, jumps into the water not knowing how to swim, and she tells him like never go halfway on anything, you know, especially for art. She's
kind of reckless. And
super reckless.
And, she's like super reckless, and Connor finds that like the sexiest. He's like, okay, so if you're gonna like go jump into the water and like drown yourself, I guess I will have to make out with you.
Right.
So so clearly that this is like the epitome of teen romance.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of like neutralized each other and found a middle ground, like battling off their personalities. She kind of pulled him out of his comfort zone, and he started to get that confidence, you know, when she gave him that Cosmo stage name.
Yes.
And started going with the David Bowie look and all that.
I was going to say, it's very Ziggy Stardust there.
Yeah. With the frosted tip thing going on.
I don't even know what that was. It's weird.
But then he kind of bounced her too and kind of brought her more grounded, you know, challenged her idea of going to London with her boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And, just
or
kind
even
of
staying with him after he, you know, hit her. He was like, I gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I really liked the part when he broke up with her, not gonna lie, because like, you know, you see this kid who the whole movie is just like chasing her, and he starts this band because of her, sending her tapes and all. And then when he realizes, no, she's like still fooling around with this other guy. She's like, she thinks that she has him in the bag. And he's like, actually, no, like you're kind of being a bitch. So, and of course they have to get back together in the end, and they like sail off. What'd you think of that ending, by the way?
I'll let Jake go first.
I mean, if I'm being totally honest, it got a little cheesier than I would have liked. I mean, I liked the overall ending of like, he's going off, he's going to go there. We don't know what's going to happen to him in England, if he's going to be successful, get that record deal. I just didn't love how he left his band behind to do it. Like, I kind of wish they were more a part of that process.
Yeah.
Just, I was like, I know that they mentioned like, you do it and come back and don't forget about us.
Right.
But it would have been nice to see the whole band get to go do that.
Right.
Yeah. I do wish the band just in and of themselves were a little bit more central. Obviously he has a very strong relationship with Eamon. But for a movie that focuses on music and this sort of confidence that comes from being in a band and all that other stuff, they left the drummers and the bass players out to dry, and it's just like they already get neglected in the grand scheme of things.
I know.
You know? So,
but they're so integral. Like they're so important to creating the sound.
They're the rhythm section.
Yeah, like
the literal rhythm section. And that little kid who played the bass player was hilarious.
I love him. I love him.
Be a cowboy.
He was great. I love him, and I love the little Irish kid that was like. Well, I guess they were all Irish kids, but the little
kid, the leprechaun.
I wasn't going to say
call them that. I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry, Irish people. Is that derogatory? Are you offended?
I do feel like Eamon needed more of the spotlight, though. Like that guy was so talented. How many instruments did he know how to play? He had, like, all the
every instrument in the world.
Played the bassoon.
Yeah. And he was
I really liked their friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's also the one that sort of drives Connor. He's like, well, why don't you take her to London? Why don't you get us a record deal and get us out of this shithole? You know, So I think he's the one that really plants the seed in Connor's head. So if he had sort of like a brotherhood with anybody in the band, it would definitely be Eamon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was very much the two of them, and just the camaraderie that the rest of the bandmates, whenever they were all together, like recording their first music video, the rhythm of the model, even when they were all wearing these like goofy outfits, like they were just like so okay with it. Like they were like, yeah, we'll just be goofy. I'll be a cowboy, you know, like there was no inner conflict sort of within the band. They were just like, I guess I'll do this. This will be chill.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit too about the character of Brendan, the brother, because this is very much a film. I think even at the end it says for brothers. This film is for brothers, and it's due in part to John Carney's brother, who passed away. He had a very close relationship with him. Mm-hmm. So this film, I guess in a way, was a tribute to that relationship. But it was very interesting because I don't think obviously Brendan was a driving force for Connor throughout as well, giving him records to listen to that sort of developed the band's stages, I guess you could say, throughout the movie. But there's that scene where Brendan sort of just like freaks out on Connor in a little bit after like he and Rafina break up, and he's like, you just got to ride in my jet streams. I had to deal with mom and dad for 6 years before you came along. And it's like, I didn't know really whether what that scene was trying to emulate. And then like a couple scenes later, Connor's like, oh, hey, we're playing a show. Do you want to come? And he's like, oh yeah, I might stop by. And then he winds up driving them to the boat at the end, which was cool. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that whole dynamic and relationship throughout the movie?
I mean, I definitely loved that relationship as a whole. I think it's really cool to see someone, I feel like a musician who's trying to figure out if they should go for it needs that kind of support base from someone, they love and trust. So it's cool that he had that in his older brother, and that just about every step of the way, Brendan was supporting him, and that he, risked getting in trouble with the parents at the end and getting him on the boat just because he wanted to see his brother succeed and wants to see better for him and not to fall into the same path that he did. So I definitely felt inspired by that. Like, I loved that relationship.
They had a very realistic brotherly relationship. I always like when familial relationships are portrayed positively in film, because there's so many ways to take the easy way out and make it tropey and make them bully each other. But no, it was very sweet, and there was play fighting, and the brother Brendan would call out Connor, like we mentioned earlier about his shit cover of Duran Duran, but in a way he pushed him to work on his own original music, and he was the one that said, you should just do this thing. They have so much in common in the fact that they have their records that they share, and also their parents are getting a divorce, which weighs heavily on Connor, and that's something else that you really can only go through and understand with a sibling. So it's I have a brother, and I'm fortunate enough that we're also very tight, but it's a different relationship dynamic because I'm a girl and he's a boy. But regardless, siblings, I think it's just such a great relationship to have, and I always like seeing it positively portrayed in the media. So that ending when they had that bittersweet goodbye hug, and then Brendan they go away on the boat, they start sailing away, and then he just raises his arms up and he's just go get him,
very Judd Nelson,
yes. Yes. So that's how I feel. Great relationship.
Nice. Jake, do you have one of those relationships for in terms of your music, somebody to help push you and encourage you to constantly find your voice and do better, be better, all that good stuff?
Yeah. I mean, kind of cheesy, but I think my mom kind of filled that role. For a while, I guess I didn't really have one just because I didn't even take music seriously. When I first started, it was just a casual, fun little side hobby. But once I started to care about it, my mom definitely started to see that and support me. And especially the first time she came to see BowTie Fridays perform, I don't think she really understood that we were a real band before that. And that, we were actually I was writing music and we were playing that music. I don't think she really processed that until she saw us with her own eyes. And that day was just complete change. Like, she had always, growing up, she always wanted me to be like an accountant, you know, pay my bills, make sure I'm being responsible. Like, she really wanted me to be an accountant. I don't know why. But after that, she flipped a switch and was like, you need to pursue music. Like, how can I help you do this? She started like trying to talk to her connections and just gave me 100% support and continues to do so. And so she's definitely helped me, you know, get my own confidence in pursuing music.
Nice.
That's so important. It's really great that you have such a strong relationship with, you know, with your mom, and that she's so supportive of your music. I think a lot of people don't have that are artists. So, brava, Jake's mom.
Yeah, for sure. And it also helps that my dad is also in a band. So,
hey, music runs in the family.
He helps us get some of the gigs.
Nice. Does he take like a 10% cut or like a 20% like booking fee?
He gets to occasionally sit in with BowTie Fridays. I think that's the payment.
There you go. There you go. That's fun.
Why BowTie Fridays? Why that name?
Yeah, so it was a quick decision. Usually you hear about bands mulling over the decision, but I mentioned that Joe and I met our freshman year when we lived together, just by a random chance. And he participated in something that was called BowTie Fridays in his high school, where they would literally just wear bow ties on Fridays. He told me about it, and I was like, sure, I'll start getting dapper. Let's do it. So I started getting my little collection of bow ties. I think Haley probably remembers me wearing them every Friday.
Oh, yes. For
any occasion. And then
very classy.
Once we decided to make a band, we were like, all right, what do we call ourselves? And without hesitation, I was like, it's BowTie Fridays. That's what we're doing.
I like it. And they were all on board with that?
Well, at the time, it was just Joe and I, so
okay.
It was a quick, unanimous decision.
Nice. The other guys didn't have a choice.
Yeah, they joined later, so.
Okay, all right, I like it. So what is your, like, quintessential, like, BowTie Fridays look? Like, what's your favorite bow tie to rock on stage, or what's your favorite, like, because I know you guys do matching ensembles.
We do, yes.
So, like, well, what's, like, the one?
It took us a while to dial that in. For a while, it was pretty chaotic. We didn't realize how poorly mismatched we were until we looked back at one of our Instagram posts of the four of us, and like we all had different color flannel, different bow ties. It was just a mess to look at.
A hot mess, yeah.
That was the day we decided, all right, let's pick a color. So we started wearing all black, and at first we did red bow ties. Black bottom, red bow tie. It was a good look. And then I felt like we needed to freshen it up. And I also didn't want to be copying 21 Pilots because they had the red and black theme. So we were like, let's switch it to red and gold. Of course, like a week later, 21 Pilots switched to red and gold. I'm like,
of course.
You got to be kidding me.
To you. Let's be clear.
Probably. But yeah, since then we've been with the red and gold. We are talking
black
about
and gold.
Black and gold. Yep. But we're talking about switching it up whenever we drop our next album or EP. So,
ooh,
like, I say either like really thick pinstripes or like polka dots or something.
Ooh, that's
There's
bold.
nothing sexier than polka dots.
That'll get us the ladies. We'll be swarmed.
We will. It's true. I will gather every single lady.
Yes.
All the single ladies.
All the
As
single
Beyonce
ladies.
said.
Put your hands up.
Our bow ties bring the girls to the yard.
Hey. That's right. Yeah. You should do like on like holidays, you should like switch it up. Like St. Patrick's Day, have like green bow ties, and for like
cool.
Valentine's Day, do like pink, and also like Halloween, do like black and orange because that's a Halloween color.
I've got a collection of bow ties ready to go. It's the other guys. I keep telling them, like, you need to get your arsenal going.
There's got to be like an Amazon shop for that, right? Like just
Probably.
You never like share your bow ties with other members of the band?
Well, all of them are different, so I don't have
Oh.
any duplicates. We still gotta match.
Still gotta match. Yeah, we gotta keep that unity, you know?
I feel like a man's bow tie collection is like very sacred. You know, it's not something you just like casually hand out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give him my boxers to wear. It's
right.
same concept. My bow tie.
Bow ties, the boxers for your neck.
Personal.
That's funny.
Oh God.
Oh man.
How silly.
Well, yeah, it is silly. We are a group of characters, and hey, speaking of characters, look at that segue. Haley was talking about earlier, you know, there's a bunch of different characters and themes throughout the film. And one of the things that I caught on to, especially after doing my research after watching, is Carney's ability to sort of incorporate the location as a character in the film. You know, we get to see all different spots throughout Dublin and through Ireland in this film. The same in Once, and even in Begin Again, you know, we got to see a lot of different locations throughout New York City. Again, if you guys haven't seen that movie, highly recommend. Adam Levine, Keira Knightley, what's that chick who's Haley Steinfeld.
Oh yeah,
Mark
yeah,
Ruffalo.
I like her.
Yeah, they're all in it, and it's a great movie. But the location very much becomes part of the plot, part of the characters. Or character list, I should say. And it just sort of lends itself to the idea that like the location and where we live, the environment that we're in, the people we surround ourselves with, they are part of our story and who we are and how we see the world. And so I asked Jake this question before we started rolling. So I hopefully over the last 50 minutes, he's had time to think about it. Have you ever sort of had the way that you perceive things in your reality, whether that was like through location or friends that you might have had. Have you ever had that just like completely jarred, ripped apart, torn open, where it completely deconstructed? And how did music help you cope with that change?
Yeah, I mean, the immediate thing that comes to mind is what comes to everyone's mind right away, the pandemic. Everything that I knew about myself musically changed that day that we went into lockdown. I, for weeks, didn't even know what to do with myself, didn't know how the band was going to operate. It was all unknown and kind of scary. That part of my identity just felt completely taken from me all of a sudden. And I'm sure everyone can relate to that in some way. And it was definitely challenging to, what do I write? Once I sat down and was like, all right, I got to do something. I got to write music. I was like, well, what do I write about? Like, I've been stuck inside. I don't see people. I don't have these interactions. I don't have, these happy, sad things happening to me that I can write about. And I don't want to be like everyone else who's writing about the lockdown, literally. So just figuring out, and I'm still kind of working through that of where do you derive inspiration when your whole life changes like that? Yeah. Because I'm sure I fell into this pattern of like what types of things in my life were inspiring my lyrics and my music, and that changed everything. And I don't want to say I have it down completely yet, but I've definitely started to get the groove back of just reaching in the inner depths of my mind, of trying to get more creative about what I'm writing about and taking different approaches.
Yeah. I think that's funny that you say that, because that was my thought process in sort of asking you that question, because I know you also have another music video circulating on Loudstone for a song that you wrote, a solo song called Are You Lonely?
Yes.
And obviously that is very derived from the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And I liked the concept of that. It's sort of just like a Zoom call with all your friends, singing along to the lyrics.
I tried again. So that was my coping mechanism. One of them was coming up with a solo project just to write music and put something out there. It's more of a casual thing. BowTie Friday still has my full heart. But I just needed to do something while we were all separated.
Well, especially with the future of the band completely unknown, you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. We're not performing. We can't even practice with each other. So this was my coping mechanism. And yeah, Are You Lonely was a song where I did, contradicting myself from earlier, but I did tackle my emotions with COVID without actually mentioning, quarantine or all those key phrases a lot of other artists are mentioning. But while it directly related to the feelings I was going through in COVID, it was actually, I was thinking a lot more about different experiences pre-COVID. So even that song wasn't totally about COVID. But yeah, it was a great project. Like you mentioned, we had a bunch of my friends and strangers alike. I think I got maybe 25 people just from posting on my social media, just saying like, hey, who wants to be in this music video?
Nice.
And sent them instructions, and we just had all these people structured to look like a Zoom call and doing these choreographed little moves, and just awesome project to put together. And I think I've had a few people reach out to me, be like, you know, that really, while it was kind of sad, that song, it was happy sad. That's what I go for, and kind of had an uplifting vibe of staying connected during this time.
Yeah, I've definitely caught myself humming along to it, like in my kitchen, making food sometimes. So,
awesome.
So it definitely stuck.
Cool. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, man. For sure.
It's true. BowTie Fridays you guys make such catchy music. Like, it's, you really do. It's very, very good. I would encourage anyone listening or watching to please check them out.
Yeah, and I'm excited because we finally are getting back together, you know.
Oh, good.
Nice. Yeah, let's tell us about that, because we are coming up on our time limit here.
Mm-hmm.
So tell everybody listening or watching what BowTie Fridays has going on, where they can find you, what shows you got going on, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so in terms of live performances, we finally racked together a few shows. Most of them are going to be outdoors. I think we're playing this Sunday in Huntington, and then the following weekend we'll be playing in Danbury, and a couple other with dates still TBA. Hoping to be in Manhattan again soon, and we're finally going to be getting back in the recording studio. We've got a couple. Our next EP is going to be kind of revolutionary for us. We've got the best songs that we've had 2 years to work on because we've been sitting around. So we're taking it up a level.
Very nice.
Oh, I'm so excited. First in line. I'm going to go to the Huntington show.
Yes.
Huntington, Long Island, or?
Yeah, I believe we're going on 12. The exact location I'll have to get to you.
Okay.
Very nice.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be nice to finally get back out there.
Yeah. Sure. So where can people find you on social if they're interested in checking out those shows or your music?
Yeah, so you can find BowTie Fridays on every platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, starting at TikTok. And it's just at BowTie Fridays music across the board, or on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you stream your music. So yeah, definitely would appreciate if you checked it out.
Cool. So that's the show. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. If you want to follow us, we'll eventually get social media, but you can check out all the other Loudstone TV stuff on at Loudstone TV, pretty much on every social platform, right, Haley?
Instagram, Instagram, Twitter. You can watch our 24-hour stream on twitch.tv. Loudstone TV is on Twitch, so we stream music videos, and we also have a lot of upcoming original programming, including this very podcast that you're listening to / watching right now.
Yes, our episode 1 is up now. Like we mentioned, we got some music videos from BowTie Fridays. JEK is his solo project, and over 40 other artists, I believe, from all around the world. So
all over the world, yeah.
So
and we also we also encourage, if you are a creator, if you are an artist and you want to get your stuff out there, if you want to get your stuff noticed, if you want to collaborate, head to loudstone.tv, that's the website, and contact us and let us know, and maybe you can see yourself. We'll see.
Yeah.
TV.
But thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you, JEK, for coming on and talking Sing Street with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And this was Acoustic Cinema, guys.
Yes.
Tune in for the next one.
Tune in for the next one. Oh, make sure to follow me on the social medias if you want to. I'm at Haley Madison Marks on Instagram and Hey Madison on Twitter. But I'm really more active on Instagram, so you should go to that one. And where can we find you, Andrew?
At Swaggity Andy 7, like Raggedy Andy, but with a swag instead. Swaggity Andy 7 on Instagram. and that's pretty much the only place I'm at. And Jake, last but not least.
And then, if you want to see BowTie Fridays, like I said, at BowTie Fridays Music across all platforms. And if you were curious about my solo stuff, at Music by JEK, JEK.
All right. And those handles will pop up somewhere down here with AJ's editing magic.
Movie magic.
Movie magic. All right, guys. Again, that was Acoustic Cinema. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.